call. So thrilled to see you all here. My name is Chenny Xia. I am the CEO and co-founder of Got Care, which is a SheEO venture. I'm also a SheEO activator as well. And for me, SheEO has really, the SheEO community has really helped me step into what it means for me to be both a leader and a human on this planet. So thank you all for that. And speaking of which, I wanted to pass it to our Canadian activator and SheEO loved team member, Nat, for today's land acknowledgement. Over to you, Nat.
Thanks, Jenny. I'm so excited to be with all of you today. Hi, everyone. My name is Nat, and I use she, her pronouns. I am joining today from Toronto in Canada, which is the land of the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, the Huron-Wendat, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. I wanted to start with a quote that I used to read a lot that I haven't shared in a while, which to me is about why we do land acknowledgements and what they mean. It was written by Métis writer Chelsea Vowell, and she said, "If we think about territorial acknowledgements as sites of potential disruption, they can be transformative acts that to some extent undo Indigenous erasure. I believe this is true as long as these acknowledgements discomfort both those speaking and those hearing the words. The fact of Indigenous presence should force non-Indigenous people to confront their own place on these lands." If you are following the news in Canada these days, there are some people who believe very strongly that they have a right to this land and to how we behave on this land, who certainly don't speak for all of us. And so I'm thinking today about how to put myself in places of discomfort to support and acknowledge the Indigenous peoples on whose land I've been an uninvited guest. Thanks, Jenny.
Thanks, Nat, for sharing. And if you are a SheEO activator or venture that would like to share a land acknowledgement for a future call, please pop your name in the chat and someone from the team will definitely get in touch with you. So really quick rundown of today's call. You're going to be able to meet the SheEO community and experience the SheEO magic for yourself. It's an opportunity for you to join the network as well. Just as a reminder that these public calls do occur once a month and are an opportunity as well for activators to invite guests and for people who are new to SheEO to learn a lot more. So for today, we're going to start with some inspiration from founder Vicky Saunders. Then we're going to hear from an activator, Miri, and we will then move into some one-on-one pairs just to connect with someone from the community. From there, we're going to hear from a venturer, SheEO venture, Code Like a Girl. And then we'll go into some breakout groups from there and come back for some final closing reflections. So with that, I'll pass it over to you, Vicky.
Thank you, Chenny. I was just writing a little thing in the chat, encouraging people who haven't done a land acknowledgement to step into the discomfort, which is a very SheEO thing. Because when I did my first one, I did it at the Global Summit and got up on stage and I was shaking and teary, and it was like a really hard thing to do. And now I'm like very grounded in these. So it takes some practice. So I invite you. This is a pretty safe place to do that. And especially if you say it's your first time, you'll get all these like love things coming through in the chat from everybody, which is really fun. So are there guests here? I'm just like trying to, yeah, there's a bunch of guests. Great. Okay. I was going to like flip in a dime. So I just want to say welcome. I love these monthly calls because it's really a chance to sort of step back and reflect. And I always want to bring some kind of a new message each time. And I was thinking about what I wanted to say today. And I was thinking back to a call that we had last week. So we had a community call to say goodbye, not goodbye, but see you soon, to a team member who was leaving our team after being here for 5.5 years. And lots of activators showed up on this call. One after another showed up to thank her. Her name is Jessie, sharing how she made them feel, how welcomed and supported and loved they felt, and commented on her always being present and caring and responsive, among lots of other amazing things that she is all about. And it was fun to watch her face because she shared that she could barely feel her body as she received the beautiful feedback. And then she said something I think quite profound. "I feel like my heart is growing on this call." And it so struck me, and I have been thinking about it ever since. Growing your heart. It's such an amazing phrase. And I've definitely grown my heart here. In fact, someone recently said to me, "You're a lot softer than when I first met you, which I'm going to take as a compliment. We design a lot of our activities at SheEO so that you can find one another if you need support, whatever that support is, whether it's emotional support during COVID, where lots of us are like so exhausted, the last thing you want is a Zoom call, and then you come here and you remember, oh yeah, there are lots of other people that can help me along the way. We almost always feel better leaving these calls, and it's partly because we're growing our hearts as we're here. And most of us have been conditioned to think that we have to work alone, to question ourselves or our worth or our contribution. What do I have to give? One of the most powerful aspects of SheEO is that we've created the conditions for you to experience yourself anew, differently. We often hear from activators that they realize they do have something to give. Like, oh, I wasn't sure what I could contribute. I wasn't sure if I should join. I wanted to wait till I was ready. And then afterwards, they're like, what was I thinking? Why did I wait 5 years watching all these things before I stepped in? So one of the things that everyone's always asking, like, what's different here? And really, I think the core essence is that we practice being radically generous with ourselves and others. And when you do that, it changes your experience of what it means to be a human in the world. When you show up ready to ask for what you need and receive that, when you receive people's gifts, it reminds you that you have so much more than you think you do. And then when people are able to give their gifts to you, they start to feel great. And as MJ, one of our development guides, reminds us, we get a hit of dopamine when that happens. And we really do feel better because we're receiving gifts from others and we're giving to others. So this giving and receiving is a real practice that we have here. You're going to experience it today when you go into breakout rooms. And really, I mean, I think that this is the small stuff. The small things together, the shifting the conditions, the being kinder with ourselves, the being kinder with others, the sharing resources that we have creates a completely different experience of being a human. And, you know, I often struggle with like figuring out how to say these words. People are like, that's all, that's it. I can do that. And it's like, it's actually a lot harder than it sounds to be, and it feels really different to experience using your power with others and to be kind and smile with people. There's a lot of just like negative stuff out there right now. And here we kind of like walk into this different kind of space to shift the conditions for ourselves. So I was wondering, I want to invite you in to a place where you can be a little softer. You can work on whatever you're passionate about. You can support innovators who are working on the world's to-do list and get really inspired by the work they're doing. See if it helps inform what you're doing. It's a really very special place. And all you have to do to join here is to pick yourself. This is a hard thing to do for some people, to decide that you're ready, you're worth it, you're amazing, you have something to give, and we are here to receive it. And we have something to give to you, and we hope that you'll receive it. That's all. Nice to meet you. I hope you have a great call today, and I invite you to become an activator. Thanks.
Thank you, Vicki. Love that so much. And what a great invitation. I always find your words to be such a grounding force for these calls. So thank you for that. All right. What a treat do we have next? So next up, I want to introduce you to Miri, who is a Canadian activator. She is also the Chief Executive Officer at Yuhong Seniors Living. And what I love about Miri, she claims, and I have seen, that her superpower is that she has faith in people and their best intentions. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to you, Miri.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, Jenny. Hi, everyone. It's so nice to see you all. I'm here to talk about Ask and Give. When I joined SheEO 18 months ago or so, I did this because I had a great desire to give. Supporting women was something that I always cared about, but now I was at this point in my life when I had connections, experience, resources, time, and really all I needed was to find a place to put all these things to good use. And so when I heard Vicki speak and got inspired to join, one of the first things I did as an activator was to go check out the Ask and Give app. I looked through the asks and started offering help. Contacts with bankers? Sure, I know a few bankers. Social media. I'm not an expert, but I have lots of experience. A charities finance committee. Sure, I can do that. I loved how easy it was to connect with people, how grateful they were, and how immediately they wanted to know what they could do for me. But on the other hand, I was a little bit concerned because some asks seemed not to get any responses, and because actually back then, very few people were actually posting asks. And because I had no idea if the person who post actually saw the response they got. And so I was much happier when Ask Give came to Slack, which made it more interactive. But I just love our new Ask Give circle that we started last year. I feel like it's the best in the CEO spirit. It's radical generosity wrapped up with CEO magic in one little group. It's 7 or 8 of us on each call. Not everybody can join every meeting. And we meet on Zoom once every 2 weeks. And we just go through the asks on the Ask and Give channel to see if one of us can help, or if we know somebody in the community who can help. And we also tag people who we think may know something about the topic or be interested in it. By doing that, we're letting people know that someone in the community is thinking of them and trying to help. And since this is a CEO magic exercise in who knows someone who knows something about something, it would really be great to have more people join us and increase our ability to help. If you're up to it, our next meeting is next Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Please reach out to me and I'll add you to our channel or on Slack. And if you're in another country, New Zealand, Australia, UK, and are inspired to start your own little circle, also reach out to me and I'm happy to share what we do. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. That was so wonderful. Yes, again, that's Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, correct? Awesome, 2 p.m. Eastern Friday. Join your first ACT circle. Thank you for sharing. All right, so time for you to meet someone else in the community. At SheEO, we strongly believe that work is best done when we are in relationship with each other and co-creating with each other. So there's also another event that we host twice a month called SheEO Connects, where all you're doing is just meeting someone in one-on-one pairs. So we're going to do a really quick version of that now, just to give you a taste of what you can expect. This is just an opportunity for you to introduce yourself and to meet someone else in the community. I'd encourage you to receive all of the prompts that our speakers have given so far, including being a little softer, bringing your full self to the conversation, practicing radical generosity, and receiving as well. So with that, I'm going to pass it back to you, Nat, for our breakouts.
Thanks, Jenny. So you're going to have 6 minutes to meet one other person, just a chance to say hello and really get to know someone. If you end up in a room alone, give me a second and I will find you a buddy, but we are going to send you off. Enjoy. Well, welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back, welcome back. Would love to hear how that was for you. If you want to just drop a couple words in the chat. Love to hear how that breakout was for you. Don't be shy. Let us know. Amazing. Awesome, awesome. Thank you for sharing. We got, yeah, reconnected with someone who we met before COVID. Oh, yes, love it. Beautiful to just reconnect with people. Amazing, love it. Yes, I know, I hear you. They're always not long enough. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Okay, next up, I have a treat for you. So we're gonna hear from SheEO Venture, Ellie Watson. And what you need to know is that Ellie just won the Order of Australia medal. Yes, amazing. And she is the CEO of Code Like a Girl. So we're gonna hear from her. Code Like a Girl equips girls and women with digital literacy and coding skills to increase the representation of women in software engineering. So with that, I'm going to pass it to you, Ellie.
Awesome. Thanks, Jenny. Could I possibly share my screen? Is that all right? I've also got a little four-month-old beside me, but he's very well behaved, so hopefully he won't make too much noise. But
Go for it,
I did
Ellie.
hear that this thank you. I did hear this was like the ultimate community to have a baby and like on a presentation. So thanks so much, Jenny, for the intro. Can you all see my screen okay? And not my notes? Excellent. That's helpful. So yeah, my name's Ali. You can contact me. Here's my email address at the bottom, or LinkedIn's good, but I do get a lot of messages, so I tend to just use it as more of a sort of publishing platform. So I founded Code Like a Girl in 2015. And here's a little kind of background about it. So there are more men named Andrew running ASX 200 companies than there are women. And it's no surprise that top performing CEOs in 2021, and now we're in 2022, are more likely to have an engineering degree than they are an MBA. So it really does matter the technology that we build today. It will determine the world that we're going to live in tomorrow. And when we think about it, women and men's needs are so uniquely different. For example, their health, their professional lives, their socio-familial, their safety, even their recreational needs. So if technology is to serve us all equally, it needs to be built by teams of equal representation. Now, you may not know this, but there's only 15% of women are graduating with engineering degrees, and only 2/3 of those women are moving into roles that make them valuable to executive and CEO positions. So if these numbers don't improve, women's experience of our world and their contribution is going to continue to be negatively impacted. So the implications of this imbalance can be anything from like smart health trackers that completely forget to include menstruation tracking, car crashes that kill more women and children because the standard airbag was designed to the average male measurements, or machine learning HR practices that are taught by biased data to learn and ignore the CVs of women because successful programmers are more likely to be a man. So that was a real thing that happened. But within these problems lie a really good opportunity. So in a year that we're hit by recessions and unprecedented unemployment, the Australian technology workforce, in contrast, continued to grow and thrive at an annual increase rate of 4.3%. So we face a continued shortage of technologists, both nationally and internationally, and reskilling women with technical capabilities is not only an imperative, but it's an opportunity to close the gap and see flow-on effects to gender equality as a whole. So my favorite slide. So why are not more women getting into technology? So our society is riddled about myths around natural abilities when it comes to gender binaries. And most women have this mistaken belief that they don't have the requisite competency to work in technology. So I did face this firsthand. I was a late bloomer to tech. I was a 19-year-old art school reject, and I was desperately seeking a plan B in a computing science degree. Oh, my little man's giving a wee groan. And so I found myself surrounded by a disproportionate number of men in my class, and many of them, technology seemed like a real natural fit. But I discovered that they had actually started really young. Lego, Meccano sets, moving on to sort of game consoles in their teens. Technology really was quite a common thread to their childhoods. And then I quickly discovered on reflection of my own childhood that Barbie and the Spice Girls might have betrayed me just a little bit. So even though women played a really key role in the history of computing, like the early history of computing, for many generations, technology was an industry that was marketed to men. Early recruitment ads, toys that even encouraged tinkering and problem solving were pitched towards a male audience. And it is this marketing and the consequences of decades of gendered stereotypes that led us to the gender gap that we face today in technology. So how do we go about solving this problem? At Code Like a Girl, we are a multi-award winning brand. We've got a proven ability to claim space for women in tech, and we've built this closed loop ecosystem. So how we're doing it is we're leveraging industry partnerships to drive education results. So we run an internship program where we're at the forefront of what skills and what aptitude are required for entry-level placement into tech. And over the last 3 years, we've placed over 100 women into paid software engineer internships, with 71% of them moving into permanent roles as software engineers. So to ensure that we have like the most immediate results and the greatest impact to this problem, our education program targets women who are on the cusp of making a career change happen. So they might be women returning to work, they might be career changers, might be midway through their career. Oh, you okay, pal? Yep, he's okay. Coughing child, sorry. Moment of panic. So how we go about this is we create flexible education and accessible education. So we have short courses that are very flexible. You can learn on your own time in your own space. You don't have to rock up to a classroom Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, learn some outdated, bloated technology curriculum that was designed and developed by a man 10 years ago and hasn't been even updated, which, by the way, is a little bit what the education system is like at the moment. And so in a really short time, you can go from complete coder newbie to completely being fluent in coding. But we understand that diversity is just so much deeper than just gender. It is race, it is intersectional, it is the overlapping identities and experiences that may result in prejudices, stopping everyone from reaching their full potential. So with that in mind, we wanted to make sure that intersectionality wasn't an afterthought, but it was baked into our framework, our model, our business. So at Code Like a Girl, we run scholarship programs, and those scholarships are given to people who may face a range of challenges, but despite these, they are so driven to apply for a place on our courses to further advance their employment potential. One of the students shared with us that she wanted to code because, to be honest, growing up, she didn't know that people who looked like her, who came from where she came from, could create and contribute and improve technology. So it's always been really important to me as a founder to create a business that was self-sustainable, that had growth opportunity, but was so socially minded. And so we're really proud of what we've built at Code Like a Girl. But why I'm here today is I'm a CEO venture, and it's been such a pleasure. The network in itself has been wonderful. I chat almost weekly on our WhatsApp group with the ANZ ventures. Having them, as friends, as sisters, has just been, just a huge upgrade to my experience as a founder. Before CEO, it was 2019 or 2020 that we were awarded the funding. And it was, I will never forget it, to be honest, because it was just after COVID changed our world. And for those that remember Code Like a Girl pre-CEO funding, we were a very in-person, large logistical operation. We were running coding camps up and down the country in Australia for kids. We were a very, very different business model, and it wasn't very scalable. It was a lot of hard work. I know sometimes they tell you running a company is hard work. So, but when it gets this hard, you might need to question it. So the funding from CEO really helped us because we were facing a huge disruption in our business. Everything was shut down. We couldn't do anything in person, and our whole business relied on in-person events and classes and workshops. So we used the funding from CEO to basically develop an MVP. So we were about to launch an in-person school, and then we had actually signed the lease and only spent 4 weeks in the office that whole year in the school. So we had to completely pivot, and we used the funding, the Life Raft funding, to pivot and build an online scalable education platform, which we've loved building, and has came at such a crucial time because we now have over 37 partners that we have servicing agreements for our internship program, and we're running out of candidates. Like, we just don't have enough entry-level women getting into tech. So it came at a great time. We're launching this year our career track, which enables us pretty much to take someone who has a curiosity in coding, teach them everything they need to know to get that entry-level position, and put them into paid long-term employment. So that has all been enabled through SheEO, and I could not be more grateful. It's been an incredible journey. I've loved being part of this community. I've loved watching Vicky and everyone, like, seeing this community grow as well has just been a real privilege. And yeah, I'm here for any questions anyone has about the business, about my experience. But thanks so much for letting me have this opportunity to share, and it was really good. Thank you.
And really quickly, Ellie, do you have an ask for the community today?
Oh, do I have an ask? That's a good question. I don't have an ask today, but I will have soon. We're about to do some International Women's Day campaigns, and we're launching our first merchandise shop. It's gonna really, like, a lot of people have wanted Code Like a Girl stickers, and we've had stickers for the team and events and things, but we've never sort of created our own merchandise. So we're about to launch our first Redbubble shop for International Women's Day. So you get a wee secret. I'm not really supposed to tell people this, but we can all keep it a secret. And then when that launches, if you would like to go onto our LinkedIn or Facebook or social media platforms and share that, like it, or buy a t-shirt if you want, that would be nice.
Awesome. And for everyone
Thank you.
else in the chat, you can see the link to the website, LinkedIn and Instagram there as well. Thank you, Allie. Okay, so we are going to move on to our breakout groups / #SheEO Magic. So in these breakout groups, you're going to be practicing what we call Ask Give, which is basically a format that we use where we resource each other. Okay, so I know this is the hardest part, is sharing what's actually blocking you from doing your best work and showing up as your best self. What we've learned from past calls is that giving is surprisingly easier for everyone here than receiving. So I challenge you to really just own that and share that. And things like, you know, be specific, right? Like what you need help with, what specific sport that you need. If you don't have anything specific to share, that's also absolutely fine. You can totally pass if you want to, and you can just simply hear everyone else's asks and give from a radical place. For first timers, for any guests today, if this is your first time, it's also a great opportunity in these breakouts to just ask about SheEO and the activator experience as well. Okay. Oh, yes. And when we come back from breakouts, just have someone in your group be prepared to share sort of 3-word summary in the chat, just so we can get a flavor for what it was like. All right. With that, I'm going to pass it back to you, Nat.
Thanks, Jenny. I am going to open the breakout rooms, and we will be in there for about 16 minutes. Can't wait to see you all soon. Bye.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Would love to hear how those breakouts were for you. If you want to share a couple words in the chat just to share how that went with your group, you can start off. I forgot my group number. I'm so sorry. Our 3 words were supportive, connected, and growth. Group room 6 with Suzanne, we had cohort, circular, connection, alliteration. I see what you did there. B, we have 2 degrees, illuminating openness and generosity. Love it. Love it. Thank you. Amazing. Please keep sharing that in the chat. Okay, so with that, I am going to pass it back to Nat, who has a few wrap-up things as well for us today.
Thanks, Jenny. It's so nice to connect. I felt very lucky today to be in a group with all new guests. I got to talk about SheEO, one of my favorite things to do, and also just meet some really incredible people who I wouldn't have a chance to meet otherwise. I know you've heard today a lot of different information about SheEO, ways to get involved. I'm going to share a little bit about just sort of the ways to get involved in what the sort of key highlights of the experience are. So I'm going to share my screen quickly. Here you will see a bit of a pathway about what happens when you first step in. You first get welcomed in. Likely you'll join a welcome call hosted by me, or you'll have an opportunity to get a one-on-one coffee chat with a current activator. Then you get to join our radically generous community, our learning tracks, as some of you have heard about. We have 4 new tracks across our 4 content areas, which are mindset, systems, ventures, and finance. The systems track, which is being hosted by Vicky Saunders, is launching tomorrow. It's a really amazing way to think about shaping the world that we want to live in and how to shift systems to be more equitable and work for us. Then you get to vote on ventures. Those are the incredible entrepreneurs like Allie and Chenny, who we've heard from today. You can join us for a venture announcement. The US venture announcement is next Monday, and the Canadian one will be on March 7th, I believe. And then you can join us to get to action on the world's to-do list. You can do this in many ways, from participating in venture deep dives or working groups to co-create change that we need in the world. So how do you activate if you'd like to? Arden will share a link in the chat. You can go to our website, and it's very simple. You're just going to select your region and your payments, share your name and your email, and you'll immediately be invited to join in, participate in events, meet other activators and ventures, and step into community with all of us. We are going to launch a quick Zoom poll. It'll pop up on the screen in front of you, and take a second to let us know, did you meet people today that you want to stay in touch with? That's one option. Are you interested in getting involved? You could do that by activating, reactivating, or even applying as a venture. And finally, I need to launch the poll. It would be helpful if I did that. Now you'll see the poll in front of you. Finally, for guests who are joining today and who are interested in activating, would you like to have a call with a current activator to learn more about their experience? We'll leave this up for a second. And before we move on, I would love to take a quick photo of all of us. This is so that we can share it on LinkedIn. We can welcome you all in. It's part of our classic CEO moment. Steph will tag you all. I've never done this before, so I hope you all are enjoying this moment with me. We're gonna say 1, 2, 3. I wanna see you put your hands up, or like show me how you felt about today's call. I'm gonna take a quick picture. There's 2 screens, so hold the pose for a second, and then I'm gonna pass it back to Chenny. So 1, 2, 3. Amazing. And one more quick second. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Thank you all. Been a pleasure to chat with you today. And Chenny, over to you.
Thank you, Nat. And as always, Nat does post the summary on SheetYo's LinkedIn. So look out for that and tag any friends that you'd like to check out SheetYo or for them to join a future call. And as really just a closing, I just want to share that as an activator, myself, I would encourage you to activate. It is a very life-changing experience for me. I feel that these past 2 years, sort of professional growth and personal growth and obstacles can have come at heads with each other. And it's such a beautiful community to grow and find yourself in. So all for $92 a month. So with that, just, yeah. And again, if you would like to set up a call with a one-on-one activator, one-on-one with an activator to learn more, we are more than happy to do that for you as well. And with that, thanks everyone for joining. I hope you have a great rest of your day, night, morning, wherever you are in the world. Take care and see you next time. Bye now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Everyone.